Ever set a goal as a solopreneur and wondered how to keep yourself on track without a team behind you? Well, in this episode, you're going to learn actionable strategies to not just set, but achieve and celebrate those goals, all while keeping burnout at bay to set you up for success. I'm Mark, and this is the Mr. Productivity Podcast, the podcast that's all about solopreneur productivity, simplified and delivered weekly in bite-sized 30-minute or less episodes. Now, before we dig into the heart of today's episode, I have something special to share with you. Every month, I host a live masterclass aimed at helping you increase your productivity as a solopreneur. Now, we've covered a wide range of topics so far, everything from gaining clarity in your work to effective daily habits, decluttering your workspace, maintaining health and wellness, and mastering time management. And we're just getting started. So if you're looking to ramp up your productivity and achieve more as a solopreneur, these masterclasses are a treasure trove of insights and practical tools. Just head on over to mrproductivity.com/masterclass. Remember, Mr. is all spelled out, M-I-S-T-E-R, mrproductivity.com/masterclass, and sign up for the next live masterclass. You can learn from these interactive sessions, engage in a like-minded community, and transform the way you work. So what are you waiting for? mrproductivity.com/masterclass, and sign up now. And if you forget the /masterclass and you just go to mrproductivity.com, right there in the menu bar, it says live masterclass. I got you covered. So let's talk about goal setting. I love talking about goal setting because I believe goal setting is the key to you achieving your wildest dreams. And I believe there's a three-prong approach to planning. This is where goals fits in. There's the why, which we're not going to talk about in the show today, the goals, and the planning. So when you're a solopreneur, which is a one-person operation, or even an entrepreneur with a small team, it can be challenging to stay on course. Now, did you know that the most recent research shows that more than 41 million American adults currently work as solopreneurs? 41 million. Now, solopreneurs tend to be independent and autonomous, and I had to look up the word autonomous. I'm not afraid to admit that. It means a person's ability to act on his or her own values and interests, but solopreneurs also have unique challenges of working solo. So there are several different ways you should approach goals, but the importance of goal setting is it gives you direction, motivation, and a sense of purpose. Without goals, what are you getting up in the morning for? Without a why, what are you getting up in the morning for? So here are some ways you should think about your goal setting. You should set long-term goals, which are generally 3 to 5 years, and this is like a 30,000-foot level. Some people say 8 to 10. Some people say 15. But for the sakes of this podcast, I'm just going to stick with 3 to 5 years. Then we have medium-term goals, which is 1 to 3 years. Short-term goals are less than a year, but you can even break these down further. 90 days or quarterly goals, 30 days or monthly goals, weekly goals, even daily goals. But the most important part, there's two important things here. Number one, you should have goals. And number two, these goals should excite you. So you probably heard about the SMART goal framework, SMART. Your goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Now, I'm guessing you understand what specific, measurable, achievable, and time-bound means, but I want to talk about relevant. If you want to build a YouTube channel or you want to build a incredibly large podcast, reading books on organic farming probably is not going to fit the bill unless your podcast or your YouTube channel is about organic farming. Okay. So let me give you some examples with good goals. Number one, I have, and that's a very key word, not I want, not I hope, but I have 2,000 email subscribers by the end of the year. Let's see. Is it specific? Yep. Measurable? Yep. Achievable? Mm-hmm. Relevant? Yeah, if you want to build your list. And it's time bound. Okay, see, a very simple statement, got all the SMART goal frameworks in place. Here's another one. I released my book in 2024. I generate $10,000 a month by the end of the year. My income at the end of the year is $250,000. I comment on 30 posts a day on X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Now, here are some examples of some vague goals. I grow my email subscribers. I will write a book. I make more money per month than I ever have. I make more money this year than I did last year. I spend time on social media. Can you see the difference? Those last 5 goals were vague. They're kind of, not excitable. So let's talk about visualizing your success. Everybody wants success. I've not come across another human being that said, you know what? I don't want success. I don't want any success at all. Everybody wants success. But here's the difference. Successful people are willing to do those things that unsuccessful people are not. Can you see your success? What do you want? What lights you up? See, there's a big difference between saying you want success and actually seeing it. If you want to own a private plane someday, do you have a private plane picture hanging in your house or your office someplace? If you want to write a book, do you have dummy copies of books that you're going to write? It doesn't have to be exhaustive, just like your book with your name on it. Something simple. You got to see the success. You talk to professional athletes like Tom Brady when he played American football. He saw the win. He saw the touchdowns. He saw the plays. Wayne Gretzky, you name the player. They see the success. Do you see the success? The success that you want, does it light you up? Now, I encourage you to create yourself a vision board, or here's something I don't see a lot of people doing. Create a vision board wallpaper for your laptop or your phone. So every time you use it, there's your vision board. You need to see and visualize the success. Now, you can't do that until you define what success is for you. So I encourage you to take some time, sit down and think about, what does success look for you? Once you get that, then I want you to go get yourself a vision board. All right. So let's talk about breaking down big goals. Now, I want you to take your big goals. I want to grow my email list to 2,000 members. I want to write a book. I want to make $1 million this year, whatever your goal is. And I want you to break it down into smaller, actionable steps. If I want to summit Mount Everest today, I can't do it tomorrow. There's a lot of steps to go between now at this very moment and when I'm summiting Mount Everest. That's the way you have to look at goals. So let's use an example of releasing a book in 2024. Let's say, like you, I also want to write a book. You want to write a book, don't you? So let's say you and I want to write a book. We're going to not just write a book, we are going to release the book in 2024. Now, I realize time bound, that is between January 1st and December 31st, 2024. But go with me here. So some smaller steps, and some of these are really small steps, but every step matters. One, you create a folder on your computer. We're not going to do some random folder or random file on your desktop. We're going to create a folder that's going to say, not your title, it's going to say, my book. Don't overthink this. Then inside that folder, you're going to create a document and begin to brainstorm what you want in your book. Now, as I just mentioned, do not get caught up in the title or the cover in the beginning. Don't determine it's going to be this many pages and this font size and who the publisher is. I just want you to start brainstorming what your book is going to be. Okay? Now, I want you to determine, in the case of a book, is how many words are you going to commit a day? Now, this is not to say all these words that you write down are going to make it to your book, but you're going to say, 100 words, 500 words, whatever it is. I want you to commit to that. Now, here's a pro tip. Use an app like Google Docs so you can work on your book when you're away from your computer. When I'm writing blog posts or other content creation, I have the Google Doc app on my iPhone. So if I'm out and about and my wife wants to run into the store, I can pull that up if I'm inspired and I can write to it. I don't have to be in front of my computer. It's really important. It's a pro tip. Now, those are some examples of smaller steps. I have someone who's writing a book right now. or they have written a book. Now they're at the editing. They're at the final editing stage. But they had smaller steps along the way. If you make the steps too big, you may go, I'm not going to do it today. Oh, it's the weekend. Oh, I'm on vacation. Oh, it's the holiday. You'll make excuses. But if you have easy, simple steps, you're like, oh, I can knock that out in 10 minutes. And all of a sudden you get 3-4 steps down and you're like, wow, I'm making progress. So stick with the smaller steps to your goals. And I want you to set milestones. Now, in the example of a book, it's really easy. You finish the first draft, you finish the second draft, you finish the third draft, and on and on. You got the edit back from the publisher or the editor, whatever. So you have these milestones. But every goal can have milestones. And I want you to celebrate your victories, your large and small victories appropriately. Appropriately. What I mean by this, you get the first draft done. That doesn't mean you go out and buy a private jet. I know it's a silly example, but it's got to be appropriate. Milestones, celebrate the victories, because when you celebrate, you get even more excited. So let's talk about accountability. Accountability rocks. I mean, you can't do this thing of achieving your goals as a solopreneur alone. Consistency rocks right along with accountability. So you need to determine what daily routines and habits are going to help you achieve your goals. You need to sit down, look at your goal and go, okay, what do I need to do every day in order to achieve these goals? And I encourage you to write these down in your journal. And speaking of journals, no, there's not an ad here, but speaking of journals, that's one of the tools you can use. I love technology. I'm 58 years young. I love technology. Okay? But I love writing in my Moleskine notebook. You don't have to have a Moleskine notebook. You can get we're back to school time here in the United States. You can go get a cheap notebook. It doesn't matter. Don't overthink this. Write down your thoughts. When you are writing your thoughts down, all of a sudden these ideas percolate up from your subconscious mind. There's planners. I've used probably 24 planners in my life. Find a good planner. Schedule time to hold you accountable. So you can say, hey, I'm going to work on my book or whatever your goal is on these times, on these days. But there is something more powerful than the tools. And I'm going to get to that in just a moment. But I don't want you to forget about digital apps. Like I mentioned, Google Docs, there's Trello, there's Asana. There's a lot of apps out there that'll help you hold yourself accountable. Create reminders and alarms with descriptions of what the alarm is for. We don't want alarm to go off and it just says alarm. So if you're going to write for 10 minutes or 30 minutes, or you're going to work on whatever you're working on, have an alarm. Or maybe you have to have a reminder saying, hey, don't forget you're going to do X today. Really important. Now, what works better to hold you accountable than tools is an accountability partner. Do not go alone. Now, when you are using a journal, a planner, an app, you are basically going alone. Yeah, they may give you some feedback, but you need another human being. So there's lots of ways to find an accountability partner. There are coaches like me, Mr. Productivity. If you invest in me as a coach, you get built into your coaching an accountability partner. You can get a mentor. You can go to networking events. You can go to online communities. But I want to caution you here. Be very careful about who you choose to be your accountability partner. See, anybody can be an accountability partner if things are going well. If you're doing everything you're supposed to do, if you're going to write 500 words a day and you're writing 750, man, anybody can cheer you on. But what happens when you don't do that? What happens when you fall short? So you got to be careful with family and friends and your buddies, because if you are not doing what you're doing, what you said you're going to do, will they call you out? Or will they say, well, I'm sure you tried? We want to focus really hard on getting people that'll get up in our grill and cheer us on. That is how you find a good accountability partner. If you're interested in me, you can go to mrproductivity.com and find out information, or you can contact me directly and we can talk about it. All right. Regularly set time aside to review and adjust where you are. So you've got your goals. but you just can't go because when a plane takes off from LAX in Los Angeles, California, and it is bound for New York City, that computer is constantly making sure it's on target. There's winds and there's all a bunch of things that go on. Maybe it's got to deviate because of this, that, the other thing, but it constantly is reviewing where it's going and making sure it's on course. You need to do that with your goals, no matter what your goal is. I don't care what your goal is. I don't care what your big, hairy, audacious goal is. I don't care what your smaller steps are. You need to set a time daily, weekly, and monthly to review where you're at. Yes, I did say daily. Daily's kind of easy. Let's go back to the simple book writing example. If you're going to commit to 500 words a day, at the end of the day, well, any word processing software will tell you how many words you wrote that day. Did you hit 500 or not? It's kind of black and white, right? So I want you to set aside time daily, weekly, and monthly. Just really quick. These are my goals. Am I on target? If I'm not on target, what do I need to do to adjust to get back on the target? Now, don't forget to celebrate both the big and the small achievements. They all count. Remember what I said earlier, appropriate celebration can boost your morale and motivate you for future goals. My friend who has submitted his first draft to his book, do you think that's a milestone? Do you think he didn't celebrate that? He put a lot of work into this book, and then he sent it off to the editor, and he's like, wow, that was a huge milestone. Now, I don't know if he has celebrated, but I hope he did. Now, let's talk real quickly about procrastination and burnout. How do you address this? Because it is a real thing. Now, I've been seeing a lot of posts on X, again, formerly known as Twitter, about people dealing with procrastination. And I believe everyone procrastinates. It's to the degree of how much you procrastinate. And we need to be aware that we're procrastinating, but people ask me, how do I deal with procrastination? Well, number one, you need to do what you love, where you love to do it. Now, if you love what you do, but you don't love where you're doing it, this could be at your house, this could be at another company, this could be at Starbucks, wherever it is. If you are not doing your best work, maybe you need to go someplace else, maybe you need to change professions, maybe you're doing the wrong thing. Number two, get yourself a coach or mentor, like I mentioned already. Number three, ODAE it. ODAE. This is the process I teach my clients. It just stands for outsource, delegate, automate, and eliminate. In other words, if you are procrastinating, maybe you need to outsource some of that stuff or delegate or automate or eliminate it to get it out of your way so you can focus on the things you don't want, that you really want to do. And finally, don't forget to take breaks. Micro breaks, 3 to 5 minute breaks throughout the day where you get away from your technology. You go outside. You don't think about anything. You don't talk to anyone. You just close your eyes, do some deep breathing. Trust me, micro breaks are powerful. Hustling is fine, but don't forget to balance it with self-care. Finally, continuous learning and growth. Adopt a mindset of always learning as you go on your journey to your goals. I personally have a non-negotiable of reading for an hour every day. I encourage you to pick that habit up as well. Determine what you need or want to learn about, then go find podcasts, books, videos, etc. to help you grow as a solopreneur. Don't just go randomly pick up a book or randomly listen to a podcast or randomly watch a YouTube video. I want you to figure out what skill do you need to learn, then go out and search. A lot of people get that backwards. So here's my call to action for you. You probably got a lot of value out of this show because you listened all the way to the end. Thank you for that, by the way. I don't take your time or attention for granted, but I want you to share I want you to share this episode with 2 or 3 of your friends right now. Don't think about it. Don't overthink who you're going to send it to. Just go, you know what? I really got a lot out of this episode, so I'm going to click that share icon, and I'm going to send it to 2 or 3 of your friends. The worst they're going to do is say, dude, why'd you send this to me? But they're probably not. They're probably going to go, oh, thank you so much. Let me help them through you, okay? And the final thing is, if you have anything you want to know about me, You want to find out about the next live masterclass. You want to find out about one-on-one coaching. You want to read my blog. You want to read about where I'm from. Everything happens over at MrProductivity.com, M-I-S-T-E-R, MrProductivity.com. I want to thank you so much. And I'm not just saying this because it's the end of the show. I really, truly do mean this. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I know in 2023, or maybe you're listening to this in 2024 or 2025. Hello, future you. I want you to understand, I know you can be pulled in so many different directions. There's so many apps. There's so much going on. But you listen to this episode. And from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you. And until we come back with another episode, please be productive and stay positive.